I'm vengeance.
I am the night.
I'm Batman.
Welcome back to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy. So why do we all love Batman so much?
Because I'm Batman.
Okay, obvious reasons aside, there's just something captivating about the Caped Crusader. In a world that's brimming with bright and colorful superheroes, the Dark Knight is the standout. Batman has long transcended the pages of the comic books, being one of the most recognizable and beloved characters in history. Always the most analyzed, the most deconstructed, the most fascinating to explore in all forms of media and literature. More than any other superhero and possibly any pop culture character, every interpretation of Batman constantly offers something unique and new. This is why the Batman stood the test of time, why he's still relevant 83 years after his creation, 36 years after being reinvented as the modern Batman that we know today. Every time fatigue and bad writing threatens the longevity of the character, a whole new rendition creates a whole new interest in the hero, allowing the Dark Knight to maintain his reign over the superhero world. This is why there's so much excitement for the Batman, only 6 years after the previous reboot. Despite the darker and grimy nature, Batman resonates with audiences across all ages and demographics. So let's dive into the darkest depths of the Dark Knight mythos and explain why we love Batman.
As a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting. Something elemental, something terrifying.
A watchful protector. A dark knight.
On the surface, Batman shouldn't be a relatable character. After all, he's a rich guy who invested a fortune into dealing with his traumas by beating criminals to a pulp. It's certainly easier to relate to someone like Spider-Man or even Superman, and yet many of us find Batman to be just as relatable and inspiring. We love Batman because everything about him is perfect. He has the best stories, the best villains, the best sidekicks, and some of the most complicated romances. He is a self-made man. He never gives up. He's smarter than everyone else. He has no powers, yet he can beat up gods. He has cool suits, gadgets, and of course, the Batmobile.
Chicks dig the car.
We love him because he is... And we love him because he is...
As I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises.
We love him, well, you know why we love him.
I am Batman.
Now this technically should cover everything, but here's the thing. Everything I just listed, that's all mostly surface stuff. There are far deeper reasons why we love Batman.
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
We resonate with Batman because he represents our own deepest pain, traumas, loneliness, fears, depression, rage, and sense of injustice. But at the same time, he embodies how we can deal with all of it. He is a man who channeled his pain and fear into a positive purpose, forged his mind and body into a weapon devoted to only one goal: justice.
You just crippled that man!
He's young, he'll walk again. But you'll stay scared, won't you, punk?
Despite some of the consensus out there, Batman is a hero. He is a good man, he is an inspiration. That's why Batman is so relatable, because in the end, he is a normal man. He has no superpowers, and he's proof that to be a hero, you don't need to be bitten by a magic spider or be an alien from a faraway planet. Batman serves as an insight into how children and adults alike can deal with our traumas. Batman is a reminder that no matter how bad things get, there's always a way we can reinvent ourselves, never give up on finding our purpose, dedicate ourselves to something good, and not lose hope even in the darkest times.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
The elemental aspects of the character are always fascinating because of the ambiguous nature of Batman's stories. The best of them explore the complex nature of ethics, justice, and society. Bruce Wayne died with his parents. The potential of the man he could have been was washed away with the rain and blood. Crime Alley is the birthplace of a shadow. Rage and vengeance personified by a restless crime-fighting machine.
I chose this life. I used the night. I became the night.
Bruce Wayne is a man who never moved past his parents' murder. He's tortured by guilt and pain and an almost insane sense of duty, using his trauma as a vigilante, justifying his need for
vengeance
by waging a one-man war against crime and corruption. On one hand, forcing his sense of justice and morals in society, hoping that others will change their nature, while at the same time having very little faith that society will ever be able to survive without him. This is why the Batman is such a powerful subject for psychological analysis. Batman has no right to be a functioning human being. He should be a wreck, crushed by his pain.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
And yet, he is a man that forged his pain into a weapon that benefits society. His whole being is dedicated to his mission to make sure that no other kids see their parents die in an alley. Bruce Wayne is not a man who wears a mask. Bruce Wayne is the mask, created not to give him a semblance of normal life, but instead as a necessary facade so he can pretend to fit in society. There's only Batman, that's his true self. This is why he can never find happiness. His crusade is eternal because he's trying to fix an unfixable city, win an unwinnable war against crime, which in fact is a war against human nature.
They're only as good as the world allows them to be.
He is a pillar, enduring the crashing waves of an ocean of crime and corruption. A beacon of light in a storm of shadows, a man who refuses to surrender against the evil and misery of the world surrounding him. Batman believes in something that should be impossible after everything he's experienced. He believes that people can change. This belief is rooted in his war against crime. He must believe that all he's doing will amount to society finding a way to change, to overcome its worst trait and fix a broken system in search of true, incorruptible justice. This core belief is why Batman's conflicts with his enemies are so captivating, why he sends psychotic mass murderers like the Joker to a mental asylum instead of the morgue. It's because Batman truly believes that even the scum of the earth, like Joker, could change and be redeemed.
I could rehabilitate you. You don't need to be alone. We don't have to kill each other.
And this brings us to Batman's incredible rogues gallery. Batman's villains are some of the best, possibly rivaled only by Spider-Man. Batman has the most intricate and compelling enemies. They're the best because they are fully realized characters. These villains are more than just adversaries. They encompass all of Batman's worst fears and traumas. They are all fractured human beings just like him. Each one serves as a unique challenge to every facet of who Batman is. The Riddler is an intellectual rival. Bane is both a physical and a cerebral obstacle. Scarecrow weaponizes fear, just like Batman does.
Catwoman plays against his sexuality. Two-Face plays against his duality.
Joker challenges Batman's sense of justice as a constant threat to his no-killing rule. And what's more is that each one of Batman's villains represent a warped mirror image. The villains are what Batman could have become, would have become if he gave in and lost control. This is why Batman's no-killing rule is so important. It's one of the values that makes Batman Batman.
I'm no executioner.
Your compassion is a weakness your enemies will not share.
That's why it's so important. It separates us from them.
Batman's refusal to kill doesn't derive from a sense of misguided righteousness. It's much deeper. As a child, he witnessed the two most important people in his life gunned down right in front of him. That pain tortured him for the rest of his life, but so is the guilt of not being able to do anything to stop it. There was nothing he could have done as a child, but as an adult, he devoted every part of his body and mind to ensure that no one else will have to suffer like he did. No one else will die on his watch. And he'll be damned if he inflicts that same pain on others. That's why he can't kill, even someone like the Joker, because by doing so, he will steal their ability to choose to change, choose to be better.
Why would you do that? Newsflash! I'm the one who's trying to kill you!
What's the point of justice if one man can be judge, jury, and executioner? It's pure strength of conviction. Every fabric of his being tells him to kill Joker, so it takes a superhuman willpower to remain in control, to refuse to give in. He won't forsake this core belief. He'll attempt to rehabilitate the criminals he faces, knowing very well the ramifications of this decision.
All the people I've murdered by letting you live.
But Batman's choice also raises an interesting debate on whether or not Batman is correct in not killing his most terrible villains. And if by letting them live, he's creating new and worse criminals in Gotham.
We're all freaks and monsters. And who made us this way? Batman!
And maybe Batman should kill. Maybe it's the humane thing to do, because the world will certainly be better without the Joker in it. But Batman can't take the easy choice. True heroes don't do what's easy, they do the hard thing that others can't.
All I've ever wanted to do is kill him. A day doesn't go by when I don't think about subjecting him to every horrendous torture he's dealt out to others, and then end him. But if I do that, if I allow myself to go down into that place, I'll never come back.
Batman knows that the moment he kills the Joker, he can never go back to being Batman. One bad day is the end for everything he sacrificed. After that, he might as well kill every one of his villains. And that's a slippery slope because he knows that it's how he becomes worse than the Joker. Batman is the most dangerous person in the world, even when that same world is occupied by the likes of Superman. If Batman breaks bad, then no one is safe.
That's why I developed plans for containing any or all members of the JLA, should the need ever arise.
None of us would ever do that to you.
Then you're damn fools.
This is why Batman and Joker are a match made in heaven. They represent what each one hates about the other. They are two sides of the same coin. They are products of the society that created them. Their ideologies are forever locked in a disastrous dance.
I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
Joker does all he can to force Batman to kill, so he can become just like him. So Joker can prove that everyone is just one bad day away from breaking. Batman's conviction is strong, and he believes that even the Crown Prince of Crime can be rehabilitated. Because if Joker can be cured, that means that anyone can be better, and all of Batman's sacrifices, all the blood on his hands, will amount to something good in the end. And it has. Many of Batman's villains were rehabilitated, and Batman was a positive force in the lives of his allies, giving them the tools to deal with their own trauma and channel it into something good.
Robin needed to help bring the men who murdered his family to justice.
So he could turn out like you?
So that he wouldn't.
This is why Batman is such a complex character. His stories always raise some of the most compelling moral debates. Batman represents our need for justice. We all want to believe that the world is just and fair. There's this feeling that good will always overcome evil. Now, unfortunately, in the real world, things are never that simple, and many of us tend to become depressed and angry with the injustice that surrounds us. This is why we relate to Batman, a man who understands the system is too broken and corrupt, so he had to take the law into his own hands and make things right all by himself. Superman and Spider-Man save us from burning buildings, but Batman is the hero who protects us from the monsters that hide in the shadows, because he is a monster created by those same shadows. That's who Batman is. Batman is everlasting. Batman matters, now more than ever, and most likely forever. This is why we will always love Batman. But now it's your turn. Why do you love Batman? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.